is absolutely zero doubt in my mind. Rachel Meghan Markle was a semi-expensive yacht girl, and she knows it.
Many of you have seen this picture already. You see that there's Meghan with her.
Was a yacht girl. That's right. It's mentioned in the book. Meghan used to entertain as a yacht girl.
It did not land like a polished headline or a neatly sourced briefing. It came across like something that slipped out before anyone could catch it, the kind of remark that is not meant to travel beyond the room it was spoken in. According to the video, that is what made it radioactive. Not strategy, not timing, just a sentence said too casually by someone who has spent years close enough to power to understand which details are supposed to stay buried. The video alleges that Sarah Ferguson made an offhand comment that triggered an immediate ripple effect because of who she is and what she has seen.
Meghan Markle was introduced by Sarah Ferguson. He said Miss Markle was a close companion to Prince.
Then comes the word the video centers everything around. It frames a claim that Meghan Markle may have had a professional link to Prince Andrew, described with the loaded label of client. The video presents it as an allegation, not a verified fact, but it treats the language itself as the weapon because client implies access, history, and context that do not fit the public story people have been fed. And that is where the panic supposedly begins. Not because anyone has proven anything, but because a single unguarded description can fracture a carefully maintained narrative. The video's point is simple. In that world, you do not need a document to start a fire. Sometimes all it takes is the wrong person saying the wrong word at the wrong moment, and the rest of the machine has to scramble to contain what it cannot fully control anymore.
And here we have Andrew, with whom looks like Marcus Anderson. This is in 2001, when Meghan Markle would have allegedly been on third year. Meghan Markle hardly spent any time at Northwestern University.
According to the story, that one stray remark did not just create gossip. It allegedly reopened a door the palace has spent years trying to keep bolted shut, especially since certain names and certain settings became permanent third-rail territory. The reason it lands with such force, the video argues, is because it reframes the pre-royal chapter in a way that feels less like random luck and more like curated proximity. Not the clean, inspirational narrative of a working actress grinding her way up, but a lifestyle orbit built around exclusivity. The video leans hard into imagery of yacht culture, private invitations, and social hubs where the guest list is the real product and introductions are treated like currency.
Meghan Markle was introduced through Marcus Anderson to Sarah Ferguson.
Again, it is presented as an allegation. The narrative claims Meghan Markle was not just present in wealthy circles, but comfortable in the kind of ultra-private room where visibility is leverage and access is a ladder. In the video's framing, nothing is overt. Nothing is labeled criminal. It is simply an ecosystem, and the implication is that ecosystems create overlap. And overlap is where the palace supposedly starts to sweat. Because the moment Prince Andrew enters the frame, the atmosphere changes. He is not treated like an ordinary royal footnote. He is portrayed as a liability so severe that even casual proximity becomes a crisis, because his reputation is not just bruised, it is structurally toxic to the institution's image. Layer on top of that his widely reported association with Jeffrey Epstein, and the video's point becomes clear. The palace does not need proof to feel threatened. It only needs a rumor that stitches the wrong names into the same sentence. Because once the public starts connecting dots, the institution is forced into defense mode.
According to people, she got started her yachting days, and she never stopped really. I don't think any of her boyfriends knew about it, but Meghan Markle was known as a hardcore yacht partying person, ready for
whether the claim is true, false, or impossible to verify. According to the video, the alleged comment did not read as a harmless aside. It carried the weight of implication because in that world, there is a difference between being seen in the same room and being described as connected in a professional way. The video frames that distinction as the difference between gossip and gasoline. From there, it pivots into the tabloid obsession it claims never truly died, the idea of yacht days, not vacation photos, not curated lifestyle content. Something more transactional, more shadowy, a whispered subculture where the networking is not done in public restaurants or agency offices. It is done in floating private spaces with the kind of wealth that can buy distance from scrutiny. The video's narrative suggests this world was not accidental to Meghan Markle. It presents the claim that it functioned as a stepping stone, a route into bigger rooms through better introductions, and those introductions, the video implies, eventually placed her within reach of the largest stage imaginable.
This is Karina Shuliak, Epstein's girlfriend.
And the only times she traveled and went anywhere was with him. And guess who's on the other end with her Panama?
It is a story about leverage disguised as coincidence. And then the video adds the layer it knows cannot be unheard once spoken: Jeffrey Epstein. It alleges overlapping timelines and shared spaces, implying social proximity that would instantly shift this from rumor into institutional crisis. It even suggests, as an allegation, that Meghan may have been present on Epstein's yacht during a period when Prince Andrew was also in the orbit. The video does not present evidence in the way a court would require, and it frames these points as claims rather than verified facts. But its argument is that the monarchy does not run on courtroom standards. It runs on optics. And the optics of anything remotely adjacent to Epstein are uniquely catastrophic because the public does not parse nuance in real time. It connects names, repeats the association, and forces the institution into damage control before anyone has even proven what, if anything, actually happened. The video frames Jeffrey Epstein as the kind of name that does not simply surface and fade. It lingers. It changes how people speak, how quickly they move, and how tightly they close ranks. In that telling, once the alleged remark landed, the palace response was not calm or coordinated. It was reflex, the kind of reaction that signals fear more than control. According to the video, Buckingham Palace allegedly shifted into containment mode. Phones start lighting up. Advisors compare notes. Public-facing language gets tightened. Everyone searches for a version of the story that keeps the institution standing while pretending the crack was never there in the first place. The video's implication is that the worst part is not the rumor itself, but the sense that the machine was caught off guard. Then the narrative turns inward. It claims Prince Harry was furious, not only at what was implied, but at the source and the recklessness of letting it hang in the air without a clean way to refute it. It also alleges Meghan stepped back from visibility as the royal operation tried to decide what to prioritize: defending the Duchess, insulating the monarchy, or once again limiting the splash damage around Prince Andrew. And that is where the video leans into motive, not as a single answer, but as a set of possibilities. It suggests the remark could have been resentment, the slow burn kind that comes from being treated like the family's problem you keep at arm's length. It suggests it could have been relevance, a shock tactic designed to yank attention back toward a name that no longer draws headlines on its own. But the most cynical option it offers is misdirection. A smoke bomb tossed at the perfect moment to scatter focus and redirect the public's gaze away from Andrew, especially when his past refuses to stay buried, no matter how carefully it is managed. The video does not claim certainty, it sells ambiguity, and it frames Sarah Ferguson as the ideal vessel for that kind of chaos, someone who has always existed in the uncomfortable space between insider and outcast, close enough to know the rhythms, distant enough to ignore the consequences. According to the video, what makes her uniquely volatile is not celebrity or influence, it is familiarity. Sarah Ferguson is portrayed as someone who understands the palace machine because she lived inside it long enough to learn its rhythms, then got pushed far enough out to stop protecting it. That combination the video suggests is rare. Just enough distance to speak freely, just enough knowledge to make people flinch. And yet the story does not deliver a clean ending. The video does not present a document, a confirmation, or a definitive moment where anyone says, this is true or this is false. There is no tidy resolution. Instead, there is what the video treats as the most telling response of all: the narrowing of language, the careful absence of specifics, and the kind of quiet that feels engineered. In the video's framing, the silence is not neutral. It is a strategy, not necessarily a confession, but a containment posture. The absence of clear, direct denials, the lack of a forceful rebuttal that closes the door, the avoidance of details that would give the public something solid to hold. The video argues that this kind of response does not kill speculation. It feeds it, because people read restraint as calculation. By the time the narrative reaches its final movement, the damage in the video's view is already baked in, not because anyone proved anything, but because the story's shape changed. Meghan Markle becomes less a defined role and more a question mark. Prince Andrew becomes less a past embarrassment and more a present-day liability that keeps resurfacing at the worst possible moments.
Have you noticed how he completely avoids looking at Meghan Markle when she's around him or when she was around?
And the monarchy is framed not as an untouchable institution, but as a fragile brand protected by timing, obedience, and selective memory. The video's closing message is blunt. Whether the allegation is true, false, exaggerated, or weaponized, it has altered the landscape in a way that cannot be fully reversed. It drags old wounds back into view, exposes unresolved internal tensions, and underlines what the video claims is the palace's greatest vulnerability. It is not scandal itself. It is who gets to control the story when the scandal arrives. When insiders speak out of turn, the video argues, the illusion does not bend, it fractures. And once it fractures, the public starts asking questions no statement can neatly close, because press releases are built to manage headlines, not to satisfy suspicion. The video does not present itself as a final authority on truth. It circles the possibilities instead. Maybe it was nothing, a half-remembered remark, overheard and repackaged, then inflated by internet outrage and the hunger for a plot twist. Maybe it was exaggeration, a rumor dressed in certainty. Maybe it was weaponized, shaped into something sharper than what was originally said. The video does not claim to know which. What it insists is that the moment the quiet part was said out loud, the institution lost the grip it relies on most: control of the narrative. And in a world where perception functions like currency, that loss of control is treated as the real danger. The video leans into the idea that royal secrets do not vanish. They pause. They wait for the right combination of names, timing, and fatigue. Then they resurface. Not because new evidence appeared, but because someone inside the circle stopped following the rules. That is why, in the video's framing, this story does not fade out gently. It stops abruptly, like a frame held too long. Because once Sarah Ferguson collides with whispers involving yachts, Prince Andrew, and buried palace anxieties, there is no clean rewind.
I know what you're gonna say. Maybe it was just that one trip. No, there were quite a few trips. There's actually quite a lot of pictures about them. There are 2 pictures.
There is no tidy clarification that restores the old version of events. There is only noise, speculation, and the institution trying to hold a straight face while the floor shifts under it. Whether it was a reckless slip, a calculated grenade, or a truth that was never meant to leave the room, the video frames one outcome as unavoidable. The royal story cracked again, and this time the fracture line came from inside the house. So the closing question is not just what was said, it is why it was said and why now. Was it exposure? Was it deflection? Was it revenge? Or was it what happens when loyalty runs thin and the people who once protected the script decide they are done protecting it? The video frames what happens next as the part most people miss. It is not the allegation itself. It is the way the system responds when it cannot fully deny, fully confirm, or fully bury what just entered the bloodstream. In that gap, uncertainty becomes a product. It describes a familiar pattern. Headlines do not arrive in a straight line. They arrive in waves, each wave adding a new adjective, a new anonymous source, a new reportedly, until the original sentence is no longer even the center of the story. The story becomes the reaction to the story. The reaction becomes the evidence, and the evidence becomes whatever the public is willing to repeat. According to the video, this is why the palace style of silence is such a gamble. Silence is supposed to starve rumors, but in the modern ecosystem, silence can act like oxygen. It leaves a vacuum, and vacuums get filled by creators, commentators, and anonymous accounts stitching together old clips, old photos, old timelines, and friends of friends as if proximity is proof. The video suggests Buckingham Palace is uniquely vulnerable to this kind of spiraling because its authority depends on controlled storytelling. It cannot speak like a normal public figure. It cannot argue point by point without making the rumor feel official. It cannot threaten consequences without drawing attention to what it wants buried. So it does what it always does. It tightens. It waits. It moves behind closed doors. But waiting is no longer neutral. Every hour of non-response becomes a canvas for speculation. Every carefully chosen absence becomes a clue. And the longer the institution tries to hold the line without addressing specifics, the more the public treats that restraint as choreography, not caution. That is the video's real thesis. In the digital age, the crown does not lose when a rumor is proven. It loses when it is forced to play defense on someone else's narrative with rules that no longer work. The video ends by zooming out, as if to say, this is not just a scandal cycle. It is a stress test, because the public is not only reacting to whispers about people, it is reacting to how the monarchy behaves when the whispers involve the wrong names. It argues that the institution's instinct is always the same: contain, compartmentalize, outlast. But this time, containment is harder because the alleged remark did not come from an outsider. It came, in the video's framing, from Sarah Ferguson, someone the public can easily imagine as both insider and exile, close enough to know the language, far enough to stop caring about the consequences. And once that happens, the video suggests the audience stops treating the situation like gossip and starts treating it like signal. Not necessarily a signal of truth, but a signal of fracture. A sign that the royal brand is not a single voice, but a set of competing agendas trying to hold the same mask in place. The video also emphasizes how quickly reputations get reassigned in moments like this. Meghan Markle is pulled back into the role of unresolved controversy, whether or not the claim is verifiable. The video's final beat is not a reveal. It is a warning about how quickly a monarchy can become a storyline once the people closest to it stop following the script. Because the institution does not collapse from one allegation. It erodes when the audience starts believing the palace is managing perception instead of telling the truth, and that shift is almost impossible to reverse. According to the video, the most damaging part of this entire saga is not whether every whisper is accurate. It is that the public now has a new lens. Every silence feels engineered. Every carefully staged appearance feels like coverage. Every absence feels like a negotiation happening behind closed doors. The story becomes less about what happened and more about what is being protected. And once that happens, the palace is trapped. If it denies too aggressively, it gives the rumor legitimacy and a headline boost. If it stays quiet, it looks like containment. If it tries to move on, it looks like avoidance. No choice restores the old version of reality where the monarchy could simply outlast the noise. The video frames that as the true exposure. A modern institution built on controlled narrative cannot survive repeated moments where the narrative escapes the building. So is it truth? Is it exaggeration? Is it a misremembered line that the internet turned into a weapon? The video does not claim certainty. It claims consequence. Because once the wrong names are placed in the same sentence and an insider is the one who lights the match, the damage is not measured in proof, it is measured in permanence. That is why the story freezes where it does. Not on a document, not on a confession, on the crack itself. The moment the illusion slipped and the world saw again that the most dangerous threat to the palace is not outsiders throwing stones, It is insiders letting something fall, then watching the whole machine scramble to pretend it never hit the ground. If you want more deep dives like this, the kind that break down how power moves when the cameras are off and the narratives start fighting each other, tap in with BarzBuzz. Drop your take in the comments and tell me what you think this really was. Exposure, revenge, misdirection, or a truth that only comes out when loyalty runs out. If this saga had you shook, wait till you see what's next. You already know what it is. BarzBuzz got the real, raw, and unfiltered breakdowns. So don't forget to like, subscribe, drop a comment, and share this with someone who needs to catch up.